my privilege to introduce our first speaker. And we asked our speakers some fun facts that we could share with them about them before they came up. And the fun fact for this particular speaker, which is a particularly low-tech job, we said, what's the oddest job he ever did? And the answer was resetting pins at a bowling alley. And in fact, he told me that the bowlers would try to hit him as he was setting up the pins. So with that, I'd like to welcome to the stage Scott Gnau, Hortonworks CTO. Scott? There he comes.
Come over and start up a conversation with just me, and trust me, I'll give it a chance. Now take my hand.
Good morning. Good morning. Anybody awake? I've been awake since 2, but that's just because I flew in from California. So, welcome to DataWorks Summit Berlin. I'm really thrilled to be here. I enjoyed the poll. It's good to know that beer is very popular with this crowd. So we'll have a lot of fun, I'm sure, throughout the conference. And as John mentioned, we have a lot going on with the conference, a lot of participation, a lot of information. And rather than hit you with something like really detailed and really hard, I want to present for you some thoughts about something very simple that I hope you take away from this conference and can use and leverage to really drive your data projects and your business to the next level. And I'm going to start off with the hypothesis up front, so you don't even have to guess where I'm going, right? And that is that your data strategy equals your cloud strategy equals your business strategy. And that's why all of the technologies, all the innovation, all the ideas that we're talking about this week are so relevant. I'm going to dig a little bit more into each of these, and I'm hoping that coming out of this session, you'll take away that these strategies really need to be aligned for success over the long term. And thinking about them separately will lead to some issues, right? And along the way, when building out these technologies, there are a couple of these technologies and these strategies, there are a couple of things to keep in mind to help ensure longer-term success. So what I'll start out with, since I'm a data person, right, I'll start out with kind of the data strategy and what's going on in data strategy. And I think most of us in this room really understand how data is really the lifeblood of companies these days, right? It's almost as important as the products that we create. It's as important as the customer relationships we build. It is really a corporate asset. And certainly there is increasingly more and more data everywhere, right? And this creates a great opportunity for all of us to go figure out how to capture the data, how to leverage the data, really how to build out that data strategy so that we can refine that new oil that's out there, that new thing of value that's out there for our businesses. And data is really being created everywhere. So a key foundational part of that data strategy, you really need to think about the new world of data and the new world of data opportunity means more than just data and analytics, but really it means capturing, streaming, all of those technologies that we hear about and that we'll hear about and see throughout the conference. It's really about managing that entire life cycle of data. And this is a new and really interesting technological item to go deal with, not just because of the data volumes and not just because even of the variety of all of the data that's available to us, but also a lot of this data is now being created outside of our firewalls, outside of our control, but certainly where we do have access, and leveraging this data that's all around us can really make a huge difference in a business strategy. And it's showing up everywhere. And I chose a few examples here that were non-intuitive, right? Certainly mobile device manufacturers and e-businesses and so on are certainly very much known for leveraging data, leveraging all kinds of data to really have a good impact on customer relationships and a great impact on driving new business models. But even in seemingly data-less industries like farming, farming is actually a data problem, not a crop problem, when you really think about it. Real-time sensors on tractors combined with real-time weather information, weather forecast information, can actually drive better crop yields. And this is a really great thing, not only for driving the seemingly data-less business, it's a great thing for all of us, right? Because they're not making any more farmland, right? And so this supply chain is really important, and being able to optimize and leverage real-time connected data is an opportunity in farming. Certainly, in smart manufacturing, there are many, many examples of how we're able to improve quality, improve usability, improve customer engagement, manage the yield, manage the cost by leveraging real-time data. Again, whether it be real-time sensor data, understanding the current weather conditions and humidity on a manufacturing floor, understanding the yield and overall quality in real time as things are being created. It's a whole new business of making things that move. Smart cities, again, another example of connecting disparate data to make life better, to take costs out, to improve the overall experience of folks that live in smart cities by being able to combine information from real-time traffic and transportation system, information from power plants, from the water supply system, waste management, pulling all of these things together to really optimize the user experience in cities. And these are things that were never thought of, 10 years ago, but this data is now available, and being able to connect and build out that data strategy and understand the life cycle of data management, data capture, and data connection is making a huge difference in smart cities. And ultimately, we've talked about analytics for a long time, those of us who've been around the data business, as a way to optimize the back end of a business, take cost out, improve quality, but data can be leveraged moving forward as well. And thinking about in real time as consumers are using our products, being able to measure how they're using those products, being able to do real-time statistically large samples of A/B testing to change configurations on the fly of products to really drive better design and ultimately a better user experience, which is really a forward-looking thing. Of course, we talk a lot about cloud these days. It's hard to escape the imagination. And the other thing that's happening is traditionally data and analytics were something that didn't really happen a lot in the cloud. And there were a lot of reasons for that. Certainly the gravity of data, the fact that a lot of data originally was created inside of a data center, so kind of lived its life in there. With all of these new connected devices and new types of data, the gravitational pull is changing. And cloud is now much more relevant because there are lots of kinds of data that may live their entire life cycle in the cloud and actually never make it into one of our data centers. So that means we need to link what are we doing in our cloud strategy to what are we doing in our data strategy. In addition, when we think about cloud strategy linked to our business strategy, there are so many advantages and opportunities that cloud brings that were never possible before, whether it be IT and business agility, whether it be no upfront costs, no capital expenditure, the ability to do testing, the ability to spin up 20 petabytes of data and run a test and see the validity of those relationships and not actually own the physical hardware in a data center is huge, because it allows us to really experiment and go discover and create those new use cases, and of course the unlimited scale and elasticity. So this is a really great opportunity. This is an important strategy for driving business. This is an important strategy for driving the business strategy and tying data together. But ultimately, my point is, all of these strategies, you need to think about them being connected, because the flip side of cloud is, can it be too much of a good thing? Is there an opportunity for us to think about, so there's a graphic here. I think about this as my own use case and example, right? I've got a home with lots of things in it. And then, of course, I exceeded the capacity of my home, so I have a storage unit. I think of that as my cloud storage for the stuff that doesn't fit in my home anymore. But being able to keep track of where everything is and what everything is a really, really important thing for us to do when we think about cloud as it relates to data and excess capacity and ephemeral storage. And being able to have that single view is really important. Another characteristic that needs to be taken into account for these strategies is it's a whole different way to provide access, right? In the traditional world, before all of these new data-driven strategies came along, right? Data governance, data privacy, data security was basically a new employee signs on, and it's determined what he or she needs access to, and only that access is granted, and that's it. In the new world, we really need a lot of freedom to connect lots of disparate data to look for those new relationships. So governance itself has to be turned upside down. I'm not suggesting that we should publish personally identifiable information and against regulations, all those kinds of things. But you need to take into account a common look and feel for the security perimeter, a common look and feel for governance, including encryption and tokenization and rights management, so that you can understand the classes of users who should have access to the data and in what raw format, right? So this is where we start to think about tying the cloud strategy to the data strategy starts to become really, really important from an underlying design, architecture, and technology perspective. And it's really important for true success in this new world to be able to build that connectivity to enable the discovery of those new use cases. And not only to build that connectivity, but do it in a way that obviously, and we have lots of technical demos that are going to be on this week, that's obviously going to be compliant with regulations like GDPR, but at the same time provide the kind of business insights that are required to ultimately drive success and competitiveness in the marketplace, right? And so hopefully I've had some impact on your thinking this morning with this idea that your data strategy is your cloud strategy, is your business strategy, and I can tell you that the use cases that we'll see and hear about throughout the conference today and folks who are having success here have actually started to resolve and understand that those strategies are uniquely linked together and are building out that data fabric that includes a common set of security, governance, and connectivity that enables the use cases to be developed, that enables true business agility, and it enables folks to actually create new lines of business that were unimaginable before these kinds of technologies were available. So when you think about it, your data strategy, cloud strategy, business strategy tied together need to incorporate management of the entire life cycle of your data with provenance to the edge, right? The technology to enable free and easy access to data scientists without compromising on governance or security or privacy regulations. And ultimately, an integration between on-prem support as well as cloud services so that you don't create new silos of data in the cloud that are not connected and therefore have less value to the overall business strategy. In wrapping up, one of the things that we announced yesterday was a new piece of technology that we are launching through Data Plane Services. And at Hortonworks, we're really committed to making the modern data architecture and the modern data strategy compatible with the cloud strategy and the business strategy by rolling out an integrated suite of open source technology that we call Global Data Management. As part of this, we created and launched about 6 months ago Data Plane Services, that single pane of glass that enables you to look across on-prem and cloud footprints and have a common look and feel for security, for governance, for operational management, for provisioning. And yesterday we announced the launch of Data Steward Studio, which is a plugin for Data Plane Services that will allow Chief Data Officer and the Data Steward to actually go discover the connections and the connectivity in data regardless of where it lives, in the cloud, on premises, to drive the maximum value from the data strategy, which is inextricably linked to the cloud strategy, which ultimately, and the reason I think we're all here, helps us to drive a better business strategy, a better outcome for our customers, and certainly better outcomes for our business. So hopefully that was a simple enough idea to start off the morning. I thank you for your kind attention, and please keep in mind, you cannot decouple your data strategy, your cloud strategy, and your business strategy. Thank you very much.